First and foremost, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. Also, to the Messiah, the King of Kings, royalty himself, Yahweh Shah, Amashiach. Also, the final Father, the true Father, one West. This is Fallen Kings going to get you yet with another lesson. Before I go farther in this lesson intended to the 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of the so-called African American, the so-called Latino, Native American descent. You represent the 12 tribes of Israel, lost but not found, according to biblical records and biblical prophecy. I'm gonna call this lesson, have we progressed since slavery? Have the blacks progressed, or the Latino, because Latinos and Native American also was part of the slave trades as well when you go into the history. And in this video, it's Walter Williams, which is he's an Uncle Tom coon, paid off by the elites. I'm gonna let you watch this video, but he's pretty much talking about how slavery didn't affect us, you know. And I'm gonna let this play, and I'm gonna read a couple of scriptures and give you my commentary.
Too much of our focus is on discrimination and the heritage of slavery, as opposed to how are we going to cope with the immediate problems that we face in our communities today.
From San Diego, California. Go right ahead.
I'd like to say something that, I'm a white person, and I've about headed up to my earlobes with the slavery issue. I mean, my great-great-granddad wasn't around when slavery was going on. I believe that in order for people to get together and organize themselves as a functioning unit, why don't they quit talking about the slavery? I mean, that goes back to Abraham Lincoln. We're almost beyond Ronald Reagan. We're entering the year 2000. Are they going to continue to use the slavery issue forever? The Africans themselves were the first ones who initiated slavery. The white Europeans couldn't have got slaves unless the blacks were complicit in this effort. I think it's just an atrocity to keep using the slavery thing, and I've seen the blacks, from Martin Luther King up until today, go downhill. I mean, if they don't think they've gone downhill, look what's going on in L.A. with the gang shootings. And the one gentleman said, if they want to make education better for blacks, we'll give them to better neighborhoods. Well, they're living in black neighborhoods. Why don't they straighten up the blacks in the neighborhoods? Do they want to move to a white neighborhood where it's safe, or do they want to move to a better black neighborhood? Also, why doesn't Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Flip Wilson, Mr. T, all these super black studs with all the money, go into the neighborhoods and donate a lot of money to help their black brothers? They don't, because they want to be an Oreo cookie and they want to get white.
Thank you, Colin. Let me just jump in here, Professor.
Yeah, it's that's what I want, the part I wanted to show. Esau, which was the caller, he made a lot of points. One of the major points, which is false, is he said forget about slavery. Well, what he don't realize is the whole world economy, including when we read the history of the triangle slave trade, which was Great Britain, England, and I believe it was France, that triangle slave trade funded the transatlantic slave trade, and that slave trade funded the entire world that we see now. For someone to say that slavery is in the past, a thing of the past, that's someone who don't know history, that's someone who's uneducated, and that's someone who's pretty much a fool, or foolish, rather. One of the scriptures that come to mind is, I'm going to read Ecclesiastes real quick, and I'm not going to take too much time on this. I don't want my storage to run out, so let me do this real briefly. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. That which has been is now. Meaning what happened in the past is now. Meaning that what reflects the past, the reflection from the past also reflects the future. That which has been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. Meaning that the things, the trends that was in the past, it happens again. Meaning it's something called a quote unquote saying that, I know you guys are familiar with this, history repeats itself, because things happen in the past do have a tendency to repeat itself. And Yahweh required that which is past. And one of the main reasons why this verse is so heavy, if you really study and meditate on this one verse alone, the past reflects the future. For an example, you go out there and you plant a tree. What caused that tree to bring forth that fruit? It was the seed that you had to put in the ground to plant it to make that tree flourish. Within time, it grew and it produced fruit. If you didn't put the seed in the ground, the tree would have never produced the fruit. Same thing with slavery. The world economy, the banking system, the insurance companies, the Department of Commerce, all these different things that brought forth the economic triangle that we know today as America and all these other nations. It was funded by slavery. For someone to say forget about slavery, they're a fool. That's like you saying forget about yesterday. That's like you saying forget about your social security number. That's like you saying forget about your birthday or the day you was born. You know what I mean? Not that we celebrate birthday because we know that's a sin, but I'm just saying that it's like you forgetting the the past entirety. The point I want to make is this: the past shapes the future. The whole world economy was based off the slave trade. And the reason why I say these different things about your social security number, your date of birth, is because everything is attached to your social security number. How did everyone get attached to a social security number to the central banks? The central banks and the world economy that we know it came from slavery. So the oppression that we are in now is called involuntary slavery. I mean, it's another form of slavery that's attached to your date of birth and your social security number. That's why you can't even get a loan without giving those two things, your date of birth and your social security number. Let me get a second precept here. This is Revelation 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, meaning America, meaning the abominations that America betrayed in slavery. Everyone took a drink from that, meaning everyone was involved in that slave trade. That's why it was called the transatlantic slave trade, meaning all nations on this earth had benefited from the slave trade, some way, somehow. The wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, meaning the rulers of each nation, from Saudi Arabia, all the way down to Africa, all the way down to East Indian. Everyone benefited from slavery. So he made a point. He said Africans, blacks were selling blacks in slavery. If you read the history, it was Africans, which is Hamites, which is a different race from Israelites. They the one that was selling us into the slave handlers. When you read the history on that, Joel chapter 3, verse 4. It says, the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Meaning the whole world economy got rich from slavery, and we are fed the crumbs in this society. You know, I mean, the average banker got hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars from the slave trade. You mean, just think about how much money one banking have. Just think about how much money one bank holds. The average bank's got over 100-some millions of dollars. All that capital and capitalism came from somewhere. It came from slavery. You know, it came from slavery. So all these Uncle Toms and Coons like Walter E. Williams, they lack wisdom, they lack understanding. And they will be judged for that. You know, slavery definitely affected the so-called black and the so-called Native American and the so-called Latino. You know, we still impacted from it to this day. First and foremost, to give all honor, praises, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, also children of beside the King of Kings, royalty himself, Yahweh Shah, Mashiach, also the final for our true fighter, one West. To the next, let's I say Shalom. Shalom. I hope this is very edifying to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Israel.